On September 1st, 2019, Hurricane Dorian slammed into the Abacos in the northern Bahamas and stayed there, essentially sitting and spinning, for 3 solid days. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley podcast. On today's episode, we're sharing some special memories of some special spots in the Bahamas, as well as sharing information on how you can help this wonderful, amazing island nation at least get some semblance of itself back. For those of you who are able, there is a special link in the show notes, and at the end, we're going to reference a fundraiser or two that we know are vetted for a particular island in the Bahamas that holds some very special memories, Green Turtle Cay. You'll hear 3 voices in this podcast. There's mine, there's Carolyn's, and then there's John Herlig, who is a part of the Boat Galley team. He has written guest posts. He wrote one section of the unwritten rules of cruising that Carolyn has out, and he will be working at the booth at the Annapolis Boat Show in October, just next month. He, like Carolyn, was in the Bahamas this winter, and particularly in Green Turtle Cay. My memories of Green Turtle Cay are, like many of ours, filled with people and beaches and beautiful scenery. I had one particular time, though, when I was chartering. I was able to go to the Bahamas for a week with my dad and a high school friend of his. They chartered a boat in the Abacos, and I was asked to go along because I had some sailing knowledge. So I went along, and while I was there, I needed to find a place to upload a weekly food video. And I went tromping around the island with my backpack filled with my laptop. And I was walking up to find some place that was rumored to have decent Wi-Fi. And I was walking and got picked up by a guy in a golf cart. And we started talking, and he said that where I was trying to go was actually a lot farther than I had thought. Not that that's unusual. But he introduced himself and said that he was Ted, and he helped run the Starfish golf cart rental spot, Seaside Golf cart rentals. And I was talking to him about what I needed to do, and he happened to mention that he loved making conch salad. And so, long story short, he went on camera teaching me and teaching everybody who watched Tasty Thursdays how to clean conch and how to make a conch salad. The generosity was unbelievable. He picked me up in the golf cart, turned around and went the other direction from where he was headed to take me someplace, helped me set up my computer in the office of the golf cart rental place that needed to stay there overnight because of the amount of time that it took to upload a video. He had it totally safe there, and then he offered to show me how to make conch salad and to put it on film. So in a nutshell, the Bahamas is a place filled with incredibly generous people who are so giving with their time and their energy and anything that they have. It would be really great if we too could give back to an island nation that's given so much.
My name is John Herlig. I am the owner of Ave Del Mar, a 1967 Rawson 30 cutter. Or maybe I should say I used to be the owner of a 1967 Rawson 30 cutter. I just returned home to the United States from 4 months of cruising in the Abacos. The Bahamas are special. Those small and self-sufficient out islands are extra special. I think the people who live there have a really pioneering spirit that we all sort of embody as cruisers, as sailors. My friends Bill and Leslie on Manjack Cay. Who am I kidding? Everybody's friends, Bill and Leslie on Manjack Cay. In the compound they've built there, self-sufficient, garden, hens, composting, cistern water. They would always greet me with a smile, give me a bag of key limes from their tree or eggs from their hens when I would come by to say hi. I'm thinking of other friends, Bob and Jane, who were working steadily, well into retirement age, to finish their house on a bluff overlooking the Sea of Abaco, working hard and working cheerfully, even though Bob lost several fingers to a power saw last year, and Jane almost lost Bob to cancer last year. When I was there helping them clear love vines from the woods around their house, Bob gave me a tour of their hurricane bunker, a beautiful concrete building that he, with a chuckle, admitted had become a bit of a storage shed, because they'd never had need to use it. Days before I left my boat behind and flew back home, my friends Keith and Ben came by to pick up me and my girlfriend Kobe. We went spearfishing down off Passage Rock by Whale Key. Back off New Plymouth, Ben's boat, Crackertail, was anchored right next to Keith's catamaran, Global Hopper, anchored right off the mail dock there at New Plymouth on Green Turtle. After an afternoon in the water, we enjoyed that last day's catch over the grill in Keith's cockpit. We had a few too many beers, played ukuleles into the deep of the night. A lot was happening, I think, as Dorian grew closer. My boat was hauled out in the boatyard at Abacos Yacht Services, strapped down with hurricane straps, stripped bare and prepared as well as she could be, while my girlfriend and I flew back to Washington, D.C. Keith and Ben took their boats back into the mangroves of Black Sound to try to stay protected from the storm. Sent pictures of how well they were tied off into the mangroves. As things heated up, I got a video call from Keith while they were in their storm bunker. Winds were up, but nothing approaching what later came. We laughed and smiled. He introduced me to the random sailors that were sleeping on the floor in the bunker. They were already fighting winds, they were already wet and uncomfortable, and the storm really hadn't even happened yet. After the power died, my only communication was from Ben, my other friend, who had a satellite inReach with him that allowed him to send text messages. The reports were always short, but I was happy to have them. The first one that came after the storm hit said, "We're good. Boats, not so much. Not where we left them." Every report that came made mention of the utter devastation of the islands. One said, "Island gone." Another said, "At least we have each other." That was when the reality of what had hit really started to sink in. The winds are finally dying down now, and I know that help is finally coming. The Coast Guard, the Red Cross, other first responders are evacuating the critically injured, trying to bring initial relief supplies to the area. But I also know from watching other hurricanes that when the first responders are gone is when the real recovery starts. And it's the smaller fundraisers that help to rebuild the lives that these people had. All of my friends so far, in fact, it seems everyone on the islands of Green Turtle and Manjack survived the storm. But I wanted to take this opportunity to ask you to please help them, not so much to rebuild, but to survive while they rebuild.
Carolyn here, from the Boat Galley. Like Nick and John, I have very special memories of the Abacos and Green Turtle Cay in particular. I've gone through 2 hurricanes, including Hurricane Irma, that hit the Florida Keys as a Category 4 in 2017. That was awful. What hit Green Turtle Cay was even worse. With Irma, I learned what hurricane recovery is all about. The big emergency management groups like the Red Cross come in immediately and do a good job with immediate needs. But over the long haul, it's the smaller groups that bring the community back to life. After Irma, readers of the Boat Galley gave me over $7,000 to use as I saw fit in the cruising community in Boot Key Harbor. It made a huge difference. We hosted community dinners, gave grocery money to people who had lost everything, and bought supplies to mark the dinghy channel. It kept our community a community. These smaller groups are going to be just as important in the Bahamas. They tend to focus on just one community and are going to be instrumental in bringing the islands back, keeping communities strong, and making sure that no one falls through the cracks. But these groups need your help. Admittedly, with these smaller groups, it's important to check to be sure they are legitimate and not a scam. And I'll admit that I don't personally know the organizers of any of them. But 3, one small, one medium, and one larger, have been recommended by friends who are longtime Abacos cruisers and charter captains. Links for all of these are in the show notes. The first is specifically focused on Green Turtle Cay. The second, Hope for Hopetown, is primarily focused on Hopetown, Elbow Key, and the other keys south of the Whale. The final one, Head Knolls, is more established and has managed over $6 million in donations in the wake of the last two hurricanes to hit the Bahamas. It is serving all areas of the Bahamas hit by Dorian. We're asking for donations specifically for the Green Turtle Cay Fund, but realize that you may have ties to other islands or want to give to a more established group and wanted to list all three. I hope you will donate what you can. I know firsthand what a difference donations made in the wake of Irma. They are even more needed now. Even $5 helps these communities that have lost absolutely everything.